Question 1. A financial services company is deploying a multi-region web application that interacts with a backend API hosted on AWS. Only authenticated users should be able to access the API. Requests should be routed to the nearest AWS region for lower latency. Minimal infrastructure management is preferred. Which solution meets the requirements? Options: A. Use an API gateway with IAM authentication and Route 53 latency-based routing. B. Deploy an application load balancer, ALB, with authentication enabled. C. Use AWS WAF with Lambda at edge to validate requests before routing. D. Deploy Amazon CloudFront with signed URLs and integrate with an EC2-based API backend. Correct answer: A. Use an API gateway with IAM authentication and Route 53 latency-based routing. Explanation: API Gateway provides a managed solution for handling API requests securely. IAM authentication ensures only authorized users access the API. Route 53 latency-based routing directs requests to the nearest AWS region. Why not other options? Option B. ALB supports authentication but is not the best choice for API security. Option C. WAF helps with security but does not handle API authentication. Option D. CloudFront and signed URLs are better for static content, not dynamic API requests. Question 2. A healthcare analytics company is storing patient imaging data that is rarely accessed but must be retained for 10 years. Data retrieval should be possible within a few hours if needed. Cost should be minimized. Compliance requires that data must not be deleted before 10 years. Which solution meets the requirements? Options: A. Store data in Amazon S3 standard with versioning enabled. B. Use Amazon S3 intelligent tiering. C. Archive data in Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive with a lifecycle policy. D. Store data in Amazon EBS snapshots for long-term retention. Correct answer: C. Archive data in Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive with a lifecycle policy. Explanation: S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the most cost-effective solution for long-term storage. Data retrieval takes hours, which meets the scenario's requirements. Lifecycle policies can automatically transition data from S3 standard to Glacier. Why not other options? Option A. S3 standard is too expensive for rarely accessed data. Option B. Intelligent tiering is for unpredictable access patterns, but cold data needs archiving. Option D. EBS snapshots are costly and not intended for archival storage. Question 3. A gaming company is hosting a real-time multiplayer game backend on AWS. Millions of players connect simultaneously. Low-latency communication is critical. The solution should scale dynamically based on player demand. Which AWS service should be used? Options: A. Amazon RDS with a read replica setup. B. Amazon ElastiCache for Redis with auto-scaling. C. Amazon SQS to queue player requests. D. Amazon Aurora Serverless with multi-AZ deployment. Correct answer: B. Amazon ElastiCache for Redis with auto-scaling. Explanation: Redis provides low-latency caching, ideal for handling real-time game sessions. Auto-scaling ensures that the system scales up/down based on demand. Reduces load on back-end databases by caching frequently accessed game state information. Why not other options? Option A. RDS with read replicas improves read performance but is not suitable for real-time communication. Option C. SQS queues messages but does not provide low-latency access. Option D. Aurora Serverless is great for scaling databases but has higher latency than Redis for gaming. Question 4. A news website with global traffic requires a disaster recovery (DR) solution with minimal downtime. The primary region may fail due to natural disasters. Traffic should automatically failover to another AWS region. RTO, recovery time objective, should be under 5 minutes. Which DR strategy should be implemented? Options: A. Backup and restore. B. Pilot light. C. Warm standby. D. Multi-region active-active. Correct answer, D. Multi-region active-active. Explanation. Ensures zero downtime by running the application in multiple regions simultaneously. Traffic is automatically routed to the healthiest region via Route 53. Meets the strict RTO requirement of under 5 minutes. Why not other options? Option A, backup and restore takes too long to restore services. Option B, Pilot Lite keeps only minimal infrastructure, requiring more recovery time. Option C, Warm Standby has a faster recovery than Pilot Lite but is still not active-active. Question 5. A large e-commerce website is experiencing frequent DDoS attacks. The website must remain available during attacks. Legitimate users should not be impacted. The solution should be cost-effective. Which solution best mitigates this risk? Options. A. Use AWS WAF to filter malicious traffic and enable AWS Shield Advanced. B. Use auto-scaling to add more EC2 instances during an attack. C. Deploy the application behind a network load balancer, NLB. D. Enable multi-AZ deployment in Amazon RDS. Correct answer, A. Use AWS WAF to filter malicious traffic and enable AWS Shield Advanced. Explanation. AWS WAF blocks malicious requests based on predefined rules. AWS Shield Advanced provides real-time attack mitigation. This ensures minimal disruption to legitimate users. Why not other options? Option B, auto-scaling adds instances, but does not prevent attacks. Option C, NLB distributes traffic, but does not filter malicious traffic. Option D, multi-AZ improves database availability, but does not mitigate DDoS attacks. Question 6. A logistics company needs to process shipping requests dynamically. Workflows involve multiple steps, such as order validation, payment processing, and shipping confirmation. Each step may take varying amounts of time to complete. The system should handle failures and retries automatically. Which AWS service is the best fit? Options. A. Amazon SQS with Lambda functions for processing. B. AWS step functions to orchestrate the workflow. C. Amazon Kinesis to stream and process events. D. Use AWS Glue for ETL processing. Correct answer, B. AWS step functions to orchestrate the workflow. Explanation. Step functions allow defining a serverless workflow with retries and error handling. Supports parallel and sequential processing with built-in state management. Minimizes custom code for workflow orchestration. Why not other options? Option A. SQS is useful for queuing but does not provide workflow orchestration. Option C. Kinesis is for real-time streaming, not step-based workflows. Option D. Glue is for ETL tasks, not managing event-driven workflows. Question 7. A large financial institution is migrating workloads to AWS while maintaining an on-premises data center. A highly secure, private, and low-latency connection is required. Data transfers should not go over the public internet. The solution should provide consistent bandwidth. Which AWS service should be used? Options. A. AWS Site-to-Site VPN. B. AWS Direct Connect. C. Amazon VPC peering. D. AWS Transit Gateway. Correct answer, B. AWS Direct Connect. Explanation. Direct Connect provides a private, dedicated network link between AWS and on-premises, ensuring low latency and consistent performance. Unlike a VPN, it does not use the public internet, making it more secure. Supports bandwidth options from 1 gigabit per second to 100 gigabits per second for large data transfers. Why not other options? Option A. Site-to-site VPN uses the internet, which is less secure and less reliable. Option C. VPC peering is for connecting two AWS VPCs, not on-prem to AWS. Option D. Transit Gateway simplifies connecting multiple VPCs but still requires VPN or Direct Connect for on-prem. Question 8. A media streaming company serves customers worldwide. Traffic spikes occur unpredictably. Users should be served from the nearest AWS location. The solution should support caching and DDoS protection. Which AWS services should be used? Options: A. Deploy an application load balancer, ALB, with auto-scaling. B. Use Amazon CloudFront with an S3 origin and AWS WAF. C. Deploy EC2 instances in multiple regions with Route 53 latency-based routing. D. Use Amazon ElastiCache with DynamoDB global tables. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon CloudFront with an S3 origin and AWS WAF. Explanation: CloudFront caches content at edge locations, reducing latency for global users. AWS WAF protects against DDoS attacks and other threats. S3 Origin allows cost-effective and scalable storage for media content. Why not other options? Option A. ALB only balances traffic within a region and does not provide global caching. Option C. Route 53 latency-based routing improves response time but does not offer caching. Option D. ElastiCache helps with database caching but does not distribute content globally. Question 9. An e-commerce startup is experiencing slow checkout transactions during peak hours. The database must handle sudden spikes in traffic. Product inventory updates should not cause slowdowns. The solution should scale automatically. Which AWS solution is most suitable? Options: A. Use Amazon RDS with read replicas. B. Migrate to Amazon DynamoDB with on-demand scaling. C. Deploy an Amazon ElastiCache cluster for caching. D. Use Amazon Aurora Serverless with multi-AZ deployment. Correct answer: B. Migrate to Amazon DynamoDB with on-demand scaling. Explanation: DynamoDB is a NoSQL database designed for high concurrency and sudden traffic spikes. On-demand scaling ensures that the database automatically scales with traffic. Optimized for e-commerce workloads where transactions happen rapidly. Why not other options? Option A. RDS read replicas improve read performance but do not handle traffic spikes efficiently. Option C. ElastiCache helps reduce database load but does not solve slow write transactions. Option D. Aurora Serverless scales, but DynamoDB is better suited for unpredictable loads. Question 10. A healthcare company is storing patient records on AWS. Data encryption is mandatory for compliance. Decryption keys should be centrally managed and rotated regularly. Data should remain encrypted at rest and in transit. Which AWS solution meets the security requirements? Options: A. Use Amazon S3 with default encryption and IAM policies. B. Enable AWS Key Management Service, KMS, with customer-managed keys. C. Use AWS Secrets Manager to store encryption keys. D. Implement server-side encryption with Amazon S3 Glacier. Correct answer: B. Enable AWS Key Management Service, KMS, with customer-managed keys. Explanation: KMS centrally manages encryption keys and supports automatic rotation. Ensures that data remains encrypted at rest and in transit. Allows fine-grained access control using IAM roles and policies. Why not other options? Option A. S3 default encryption is useful, but does not allow full control over key management. Option C. Secrets Manager is for storing secrets, like API keys, but not for encryption management. Option D. S3 Glacier encrypts data at rest, but does not manage keys dynamically.